everybody, to the Gears Pro League day number 7. We're starting to get towards the tail end of the Gears Pro League, which means we need to be seeing the best out of every single roster. And some of those rosters, I'm hoping to see the best out of tonight. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, joined by Colin the Crow Clark. I swear me and you have been doing a marathon. This is what, the 3rd day in a row when it comes to Gears. But honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. Although I do miss Jacob and Blaze, I can't lie. But Colin, how you feeling?
You are the only person on planet Earth that wouldn't have it any other way. Everybody else in chat, it's like, what are we doing here again?
It's like Groundhog Day, man.
It is. It's like, look, I wish I could have half the acting talent of Bill Murray. I'd take 1/1,000,000th of Bill Murray's talent, all right? And I just want his pinky finger, but I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good. I'm excited. Tonight, we got some games that, you know, they got a little upset potential to them. There could be some things we're going to be surprised to see.
I agree with you. Before we get into that dialogue, let's look at the standings after day number 6. We're looking at Rise still at the top, Colin, 6-0 with a 69% map win rate. 6 wins, obviously. They're 6-0 for a reason. These guys are quite honestly looking unstoppable. They've ran the gamut and beat just about everybody you could possibly beat. Outside of Pioneers, that's going to be tomorrow. But Noble at 5-1, still down there with Rebel at 4-2. We go down the list, looking at FNI and Hive at 0-5, 0-6. A couple of those teams do play tonight. Actually, matter of fact, both of them. So I'm really hoping they finally catch their first W.
Yeah, they need to find a win here. A Hive sitting there at 0-6, but they got a better map win percentage than Fire and Ice. That matchup is going to be one that both of those teams have got to have X'd on their calendar. They got to be looking forward to that one, but it's not going to be tonight. They've got some tall tasks ahead of them, some tall drinks of water on the docket for both of those squadrons tonight.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look at our caster prediction standings. You know, it's not the pros playing for something. We also are as well. They're at the bottom, 9-9. Twitch, I can't separate myself from you no matter how much I try. We're still deadlocked. Blaze taking first place, or at least tying first place with Jacob. So, Jacob, I know you're in chat, brother. You got some competition. Colin, I know you're ready to sneak up on him, though.
No, I've been 3rd place every time. I'm super excited to be where I'm at. I ain't the worst. I ain't the best, but I'm a perfect idiot, baby. I'm right there in the middle. I'm the jelly to everybody's jam. Woo-hoo!
Hey, man. Colin, you're a wild guy. You really, honestly, I know you're ready to take first. No matter how much you want to say you want to be the jam or the jelly or the barbecue to the ribs. All right, we got ribs out there. Of course, McRib is back. Check it out at your local McDonald's. It's not a plug for anything. I don't know why. But regardless, though, hey, man, Colin, it's going to be a good day. And last week was incredible. It really was. We had some great moments. Rebel played literally the best I have ever seen them play. And I'm curious if they're going to carry that momentum moving forward. But I want to get you guys caught up with last week. So let's take a look at our top 5 plays from week number 3.
Nobody's there to be able to finish him off, but here comes Xysho into the fight. He gets taken down. Now the rat comes out. A big body shot. It's
No, I did not. Oh, my Lord, Colin. I thought it was over. No, I cast a curse, and if anything, I cannot believe that just happened.
Back up here. Noble just trying to play the down and damage game at this point. Trying to get one kill after the next before it's all J-Mobs by himself. Ness flies in, goes for the shot on. Big 1v1 for Hive, but Dyslexic, he's here. Oh, but he gets up paid. Ness makes this a 1v1 yet again in the first place. The person in this fight will be somebody from Hive now.
Oh, man, Acells is definitely stepping it up. And right now, the X-Pac. Yo, Acells is tearing it up. Are you kidding me?
Statue fight. They'll be able to use it or use it as bait to get 2. Great job to Monkeys. He catches 2 players off guard.
Flash is going to come out. Cody's going to back away from it. He's going to try to return fire here. They're going to have the 90-degree fire from the angle up top. They're going to continue to put out pressure, but Toady can't find it. Kelly back. Oh, no, they got her.
Crack has the torch bow, though. For how long? The crosses that he's getting, or at least the Lancer shots that he's taking, is pretty impressive. But doubles back, takes down the Acells for vengeance. And you know he... There it is.
Yeah, because it's so hard to break into these.
Smooth selling from here, and even getting the torch bow more often than the Pioneer. Oh, crap, come on, that's 2 back-to-back. Can we get a 3rd? The splash damage is for sure going to help. He closes the gap, takes him down. Hndles is down. Pioneers have the hill once again.
Torque bow in the hands of Crack. He gets 1. Crack needs to find a 2nd here. going to start revving. He's looking for anybody at that cubby corner. Puts the shot on the ground. Gets Xysho as well. Hndles is down. 11 seconds to go. You cannot wait. There's no time to waste if you are the side of the Pioneers. But with that full team wipe,
I felt like 4 of those plays was like 30 seconds. And then you had the crack play, which was like 5 minutes. It literally was the entire top 5 play. Kind of like Identa's clutching up in that 1v3 on Clocktower. But hey, crack popped off. Like I said, Rebel played out of their minds. But I love seeing those top 5 plays. Colin, they get me pumped up, brother.
they always get me excited too. Look, it makes me want to go roll back out of spawn and see if I can make myself look 1/1,000,000th as good as those guys. But I'll tell you right now, on that last highlight, Crack must have started singing a song. He must have been like, hey, hey, ho, ho. Pioneers, they got to go. Hey, hey. Oh, because he was just, I mean, he sent them back to respawn every time they showed up. Like,
I know
here's
Pioneers
my face.
were shook.
They were like, are we sure this is happening?
I was like asking myself, I had to pinch myself. I'm like, yo, Pioneers, they're getting beat down, and Rebel, they're looking fantastic. You know, honestly, we got a lot to break down about Rebel, Pioneers. We're going to be talking about all of them tonight. And speaking of which, what's the matches looking like today? Let's look at our broadcast schedule. We have Pioneers facing off against Fire and Ice to open up the day. Then Hive will play against E United and Elevate versus Rebel. Like Colin said at the beginning of the show, guys, today is a day of upsets. And I think you can, kind of pick out why that is. Although broadcast schedule is in front of it, we also have our side station taking place. And I think we might have a chance to take a peek. Oxygen playing against Pittsburgh Knights. That's going to be during the 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time slot in conjunction with Hive and E United. So depending on how the Hive E United match goes, maybe we'll have a chance to peek in on that one. That one's going to be a great one, though. Oxygen and PK. I'm sure Oxygen is, Oxygen is a team that has been surprising me as of recently. They've been looking pretty good. So Pittsburgh Knights, as good as they are looking, hopefully they bring their A game for that series. But action-packed day. Let us know in chat what your favorite match is looking like, and I'm curious how it's going to be. But hey, let's go and get into our first series. Pioneers playing against Fire and Ice. This is going to be a good one. I know a lot of people are thinking, including yourself, Colin, like, look, Pioneers is going to beat down F&I today, and you know what? You're not wrong in that thought process. I know you're shaking your head, but I know you.
I never said that. I didn't even think it. I never read that. Look, there's a calendar over there I didn't even write it down on. Do I got to take that off the wall and throw it? We'll start the day off with me throwing something.
No, please don't. We've already been through that, all right? Now, I'm sure it's going to happen. I don't know what you have. Clear your desk. Matter of fact, the new rule for you, brother, we're going to put in your contract for next phase or next contract we got to send your way. Clear your desk before you start casting. I'm going to make that a thing, bro, because I'm tired of you throwing that laptop. Rest in peace, that laptop, man. But yeah, it's going to be a good one. Seriously, though, Pioneers, F&I, this could be an upset. Let's actually take a look at Pioneers, though. Let's look at the champions. You guys know them. You love them. Hopefully, Precision, Xysho, Acells, and Hndles. These guys have been struggling lately, though, Colin. That's the reality.
They haven't. That's what I was getting ready to say. Was I think the Pioneers have kind of fallen victim to their own success. And sometimes when you get that good, when you're that successful, you'd stop doing the things that got you to that point in the first place. That's what the difference in the mark of a true championship dynasty is. The teams that are still willing to put in that same level of work, do those same things that got them there. But right now, this is a perfect game for the Pioneers to try to get themselves back on track. If you're going to get a back on track game, if you want to be able to do the little things, work on those things that maybe have been holding you back, against the team that's winless, you got to take your best shot, right?
You have to. This is the thing. This series is going to mean a lot more for... Well, actually, it's going to mean a lot for both rosters. For example, if Pioneers wins, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, okay, that was expected. If they struggle in this series, though, it's going to make F&I look even better. And you also go back to F&I on Emergence Days week number 2. Fire and Ice beat Pioneers, knocked them out in round 1. Now, there is a caveat. Xysho wasn't playing that night, and Xysho is an integral part to the Pioneers. Obviously, once Xysho joins the roster, all of a sudden, Vanquish starts winning, and they never stopped winning other than when they lost to F&I. So clear. Actually, Fire and Ice did, in fact, end that streak for 3.5 months. Funny enough, Emergence Days week 2, but... since I'm on the track with Fire and Ice, let's actually bring up the roster and talk about them, because this is a roster that has been very new. A lot of new faces out there: Chavii, Toxiq, Solar, and Rapidz. Now, Toxiq, Solar, and Rapidz, I've been watching time in and time out in Challenger Series. Chavii was the new face for me that I had a lot of questions about during the LCQ, the Last Chance qualifiers. Been impressed with them, but I gotta say this: I hyped up F&I in the beginning when they were introduced. I loved their performance during the LCQ. But make no mistake about it, these guys, I hate to say it, guys, they've been disappointing me. They've been looking strong. They've been looking good in certain moments, but they're a young team, Colin. And you know, that inexperience shines through in some moments during control, execution, escalation, when they're making plays that just simply don't make sense.
And that's the youth in them. That's the thing that I kept talking about a couple weeks ago, where I said, all right, look, these cats are young. They're going to find a way to get this back under their belt, because these guys are making mistakes that you make when you're young, you're hungry, you're trying to upset the balanced order in the pro league scene. As they mature, as they get more games against some of these top level teams, they've got to find a really nice balance of, how do we work on being more sound, more veteran, more smart, and at the same time keep that level of aggression, because the aggression is kind of what got them there. It's what's going to be their bread and butter. But they have to find a way to not make those bonehead plays. And I hate to say it, but that's just the tail of their tape right now. You can get Fire and Ice to make their own mistakes. All you got to do is frustrate them a little bit. You start off heavy, you start off hot, you get a lead on them in a control or an escalation. Oh, you're getting some people flying at you. You're going to be waiting on that up A. It's not going to be two bones about it.
I think more so than frustration, it's really the pressure, in my experience, at least, at casting over them, that kind of gets to them. And again, that goes back to the youth. You know, Fire and Ice needs to just step it up in a lot of different ways. And I think they will if they can stay in Pro League. I'm really worried, though, that they're going to get relegated. But it's not going to be an easy series, and maybe not made easier by the map pick and bans. Let's take a look at that, Colin, and see which maps we're going to be rolling with. Opening up is going to be District Control. Fire and Ice goes there. Now, that's already a cause for concern. I have seen F&I play District quite well. However, if you guys have been watching F&I and listening to the commentary, you understand that F&I isn't necessarily the strongest team-oriented team. So Pioneers, not going to have an issue there, in my opinion. Checkout, though, is kind of the staple execution pick, is it not, Colin, for the boys of Fire and Ice?
Yes, and right now, that is also the staple execution pick, it seems, of most of the league. We've seen more Map 2 executions in the past 2 weeks than we have seen, I think, in ever. So you can tell that the entirety of the league is loving that map, but Fire and Ice, they're probably excited. They're saying, look, Pioneers have given us a map we really like there in 2. If we can pick up a win there on District, we've got them on the back foot. So this is going to be a very interesting series, simply because Fire and Ice, they get a map pick that they want, followed by almost a gift from their opponent, giving them the level of comfortability to go to that checkout.
I do like at least Regency, specifically for F&I. I mean, look, guys, there's no way to cut it other than the fact this is going to be an incredibly hard series for Fire and Ice. No matter what map they're playing on, even if it's Pioneer's weakest map, that's just kind of how it's going to be. And kind of the narrative I think you have to set going into this. Regency, though, is a map that Fire and Ice has played well in the past. But again, those boneheaded plays that they end up making does kind of rear their ugly head on a map such as Regency, even as recently as I believe their last Pro League matchup. So that's going to be a cause for concern. Checkout, though, as you said, you know, it's been played as map number 2 by quite a few different teams. We've been seeing it in Emergencies. We've been seeing it in Pro League. It's just Checkout is simply that map that everybody loves to play, and you have to be good on, but still take nothing away from Fire and Ice. I think that's going to be their best opportunity, at least off of the first 3 maps. Training Grounds, it's going to be a hard one for them as well. I've seen them take some big losses there. So regardless, though, first 3 maps, looking like Pioneers might be the heavy favorite outside of Checkout. But speaking of which, we've been hyping up one team, not the other. Let's go ahead and do our predictions. I think it's pretty clear cut in the way that we've been speaking. And, well, to open it up, Colin, I got to go with Pioneers, guys. Look, I've taken risk on Fire and Ice. I backed them up. And I still am excited to watch them play and improve. But I don't think they've improved enough to dethrone, or not dethrone, really, because that already happened, but at least beat Pioneers. So I think they're going to be the heavy favorite. Colin, what are you thinking?
I'm going to give a little bit of a different spiel right here. Normally, I just hype up the team I'm picking and hope to God they go out there and prove me to be right. This time, I'm going to pick my team of the Pioneers. I'm going to stick with them against Fire and Ice, but I'm going to tell you right now, The Pioneers, to me, I would rather them win a close series. I'd rather this thing go 5 maps where I can see the Pioneers stop playing hero ball, see the Pioneers be better in the defense of their setups in those different angles on control, and try to manipulate Fire and Ice, than just the Pioneers coming out here and out-talenting their opponents. I almost look at this, and this is no disrespect to Fire and Ice. Love those guys over there, but this is the best analogy I can think of. This is an early college football season game, and the Pioneers have got to be looked at as Alabama. They got a cheesecake on their schedule. They need to not just beat them. They need to work on things to show that they can beat those top 10 teams later on the road down the season. This is the kind of matchup they need to have. I don't care how big or small they win it. Just win it and do the right things.
Interesting. So you not outmuscle them per se, but really fix on the issues they've been having as of recently. You don't honestly hear that from any of the talent call, and it's kind of a unique standpoint. You'd hear that mainly, I guess, during emergence days. You'd hear that during scrims, but not necessarily a pro league matchup. I'm not against it though. I'm really not. It's just a unique perspective that, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't heard. I want you to extrapolate on that in just a little bit, but chat. Who are you going to be going with? I think it's going to be Pioneers. I would be hard-pressed to see Fire and Ice be the favorite. There it is. So Pioneers across the board. Like I always say, Fire and Ice, now it's up to you to prove us all wrong. You did an Emergence Days Week 2 without Xysho. Can you do it again with Xysho? That would be a special moment. But yeah, going back to your point, Colin, again, I don't hear many talent ever stand by that standpoint that you just kind of put out there.
Look, again, the Pioneers are struggling, and this is one of those things where they take a couple of losses early in the pro league. They need to probably accept the fact that they are not going to be the 1 seed going into the major. They are not going to be the top dog, being able to pick their spawn, being able to pick the more amount of maps when they play those higher ranking teams like Noble, like Rise. Hell, it could be E United, Rebel, and Pittsburgh above them if they keep struggling. Sure. What I want them to do is treat this matchup like it's the first round of that major. Go out there and really fine-tune all those little things, setups, playing together, throwing your flashes and smokes correctly. As we get into map 1, I want to see the Pioneers put on a picture-perfect performance. I don't want to see their talent be the shining star. I want to see teamwork. I want to see their same level of aggression that made them world champions in the first place.
Yeah, that aggression needs to rear its head back into the playstyle, much like they were when they were Vanquish. That's kind of been a talking point that we've had offline. Obviously, they'll talk more, or whoever's casting tomorrow is going to talk more about that tomorrow. But yeah, I do want to see more aggression. I think that with the new tuning, the aggression is something that is very much so needed at this point. Teamwork is still incredibly important, but the Lancer is not as accurate now. It's got more bloom. You're not going to see as
they didn't increase the bloom. They just they lowered the magnetism.
So the magnetism.
So like back when somebody could try to outstrafe you left to right on a map like District as you shoot them as they go into that back cinema, you used to be able to just pound them. Now there's a chance that you don't get as many shots on, so it's not that easy one shot down for your player trying to hold the defense. But early on this one, Acells throwing that kind of angled flash is good, but Hndles got absolutely triple lancered, and thankfully Precision was there to answer back with the first big kill. Now a second, now it's a 1v1, goes for the reaction and gets taken down. I like that from Fire and Ice. They switched up the momentum. They knew they knew the Pioneers were going to push straight in, try to take those middle pillars, and what they did was they stayed back, they found the person out of cover, and they triple lancered him.
I do like that Pioneers is prioritizing getting the spawn for themselves. Fire and Ice is trying to react, and in fact they do. It goes from a 3v2 now down to a 2v2 as Solar and Toxiq holding onto the right side of the map. Still going to be a battle for that spawn control. There is time for Pioneers to pressure in to Cinema, but I don't think they're going to, Colin. They just want to have that lower section, and again, focus on the next hill. Not the worst play. That next fight on Cinema might not go their way, and then they're going to have to fight extra hard to get spawn control, which they already have for the next hill. So I'm okay with this. Give up those early initial points, give FNI the lead, and maybe a little bit of confidence. But it's really going to be a battle now between 1 and 3, Precision and Hndles on the opposite end, between Toxiq and Rapidz. That's going to be the main transitional point that we're going to try and see Fire and Ice for Toxiq and Rapidz open up, so then they can have that lower end pressure in to Xysho and Acells, because at this point you already have Fire and Ice members who's going to be up top with Chavii and Solar. So I'm looking at Precision and Hndles to hold their grounds here. And Toxiq, he's finally going for the push.
And Toxiq is just going to try to get these L triggers off. Hndles is holding the first line of defense. He's going to wait for Precision to come in. Precision gets that big up A on the first player. Now Toxiq is stuck in a 2v1. Back A out onto him. I really like that defensive stand there from the Pioneers. You saw that they trusted the 1v in the middle of the map, and then they pressured back into the 2v2 situation. They allowed Hndles to play defensively long enough to get it to a 3v4, and then it was a 4v2. Because next thing you know, everybody was dead around the map except for those two players trying to come across the bottom. Acells is going to get pushed out here in the back of the spawn, which will open up that little cubby corner that you can neutralize this hill on. But oh, by the way, they're holding on to both shot grenades. And I would have held on to that second one and just blocked out that spot where you can neutralize it for 20 seconds. Because right now, you've opened that spot back up. You're going to get this first down, but you're going to open things up for them to try to get these points to come back in their favor. But thankfully, Xysho's not only holding on to the hill, he's still got a drop shot on his back.
Yeah, Precision, though, competition's here. That's going to be one down. And you mentioned Xysho. He still has one on his back. So that's going to be useful, especially if Pioneers ends up losing this fight, which, speaking of which, they will not. Rapidz looked as if he was having some good movement, but it just simply wasn't enough. And Pioneers, at least from what I can tell, Colin, from that last hill to now, definitely finding their stride. Again, sometimes you have to give up those first initial points, be willing to give up that first hill to maybe better your standing on the next hills, and I like that Pioneers did that. It's just one of those things that you don't see too often, honestly, but when you do see it, you can understand and really see why it's taking place. Precision doing an excellent job holding his ground here on this backside spawn for the spawns in general. He finally takes down Chavii, and Hndles can't get the revive, and in fact, Rapidz will pick up both. So Fire and Ice might have just opened up a door. We'll see.
Taylor, I really hope we have those last couple of seconds on a highlight reel, because in that situation, the Pioneers did that as textbook of Gears as possible. They took a 2v1, then a 2v1, then they allowed their one player in the middle of the map in info to take the 1v. They said it's a 50-50, but we've already killed two players. He loses it, but because of the fact that they've already killed two, it's still a 3v2 on the map over at the hill. They hold on onto the hill for another 10 to 20 seconds because of all that confusion. And that was just, again, another great little nuanced battle between the Pioneers and Fire and Ice that has won the Pioneers some points. The big issue to me, there's another 2v1. Look at this. Toxiq has got to get out there and help him. But he's too late. Now Toxiq in a 2v1.
It's going to be hard. And, you know, it's not a winning strategy. Again, we always talk about it. You could, like, even if he wins that 1v2, that's a big play from Toxiq, right? But it's not sustainable, right? It's not sustainable. You want to take those high statistical fights that benefit you. And what I mean by that is a 3v2 or even a 2v2, right? Make it a 50-50, but you're not going to win by playing as individuals. You have to play as a team. And that's something that has been plaguing Fire and Ice for quite some time now. It wasn't, you know, as apparent during the LCQ, but in Pro League, it's definitely starting to show itself. And even E-Days, right? Even E-Days. Great dropout from Precision, taking down Solar and Chavii. That's going to be another two members from Fire and Ice looking at the respawn screen. Toxiq by himself in mid, had nowhere to go. He understood he was being flanked, he's being sandwiched. He just had to try and hold his ground. Pioneers, I'm loving the teamwork, Colin. I really am. That was something you challenged them to show here. And Xysho with a nice two, going for the third. And I don't think he'll get it. It's going to be stolen from Hndles, but yeah, Pioneers firing on all cylinders.
Xysho with a big couple of kills. He actually team killed onto Precision a few moments ago, but it didn't seem like it bothered anybody on the side of the Pioneers. They have stayed onto the races right here. The angle from Xysho will buy them some time, but the shock is going to come out to stop them from having that 90-degree shot, and the shots out of the juice for a moment were a little overwhelming for anybody to fight back against, but the Pioneers have gotten inside of the juice on the back of Acells, and Acells there. Big body shots out. Hndles comes in to help him handle that situation. Now they need to break out, get behind these covers, build some space between you and your opponent. Even if they take over the spawn, you don't have to necessarily push that. You can kind of wait this out and get inside the hill and get them to push back into you. Hndles, he goes for yet another kill, but he's going to get taken down. 4v3 situation. Where are they going to take this initial point of aggression? They're going to get Lancer Fire onto Solar. Solar's going to have to back up and start going for some revives, but that is a whole hell of a lot of damage being thrown out, and they have sneaky Hndles on a flank here. There's another couple of flashes. One down on his Xysho. Now Acells. 2v4 situation. Precision, he's going to go down as well. Hndles all by himself. Catches one. Double bounce in. Triple bounce, as a matter of fact. Gets back 8 a little bit. Going to sit down and hold his life. Great retake by Fire and Ice.
Yeah, excellent retake. And Toxiq was the guy who got the best of Hndles. He ended up transferring into green and then having that off angle. Yeah, that was a great retake from Fire and Ice. Good teamwork, in fact. And maybe this is a transitional point, and it's not too late for them to finally flip the script. They're going to be over the 100-point mark. They're only going to be 69 points behind. It was looking a bit scary for them, but things are starting to look up. The big drop shot fight underway, and it looks like Pioneers are about to be put into the blender, but just like that, Acells takes down one, but backs up and eventually will drop Precision, doing a great job helping Xysho out in that mid-fight. It's only 20 or so seconds. Fire and Ice does at least close the gap a little bit more. A lot more work to be done, though, but we are starting to see a bit more life from Fire and Ice than off the beginning.
Yeah, Fire and Ice is fighting back into this one. They're going to be about 50 or so points down. Precision's going to have a great angle here. Lancer damage is going to get both of those players down and dead. That's 2 kills. Going over to this next bottom spot, Hndles waits for the slide in for one.
Yeah.
He tries the roadie run right into the face of the other one. He can't get the 2v1 win. Almost comes away with it, though, but this is going to be interesting. Look at how quickly Fire and Ice is to get back to the punch. They're going to send one player on a big flank. Toxiq is going to go to the top middle of the map, and he's going to try to get down here to the bottom to be able to try to upset the balanced order. Drop shot over the top will kill off Solar, but now with no more rockets in the pocket, they're going to just be able to send somebody else inside of that cubby, get that position to stop you from being able to neutralize the hill, and they're still holding on to that close spawn. Acells is actually waiting there. That is a big, dangerous move to make. That's why you see them roll back. As long as they stay in these spots, though, you cannot pressure up onto them. This hill will stay neutralized for quite some time, unless there is a big miracle play to come out of either of these squads.
Yeah, the shocks would have been great to have here. Obviously, they were already used. I do see the ideology, though, behind Hndles being where he's at. Player rate, though, Rapidz is keeping him in check. He doesn't want anybody from Pioneers to get onto the flank. At that point, your defensive setup where Fire and Ice is currently at the top of the stairs would be unraveled. So I agree with you, Colin. I don't think anything is going to pop off here. The biggest thing I guess you can be focused on is the new drop shot coming up in just about 20 or so seconds. Now, the new shock is up, though, so maybe, just maybe, Pioneers can utilize that. And if I think Fire and Ice is acutely aware that Pioneers is going for the fresh shock, that could unravel their defense, but Fire and Ice takes it for themselves. You know, when F&I pushes up, I do like their retake ability, but I'm not liking their... I think the biggest thing is their rotations and their prioritizations on the new hills. That's been killing them.
It has been drop shot in the hands of Chavii. Chavii's going to go down. Double down now. That's one of the things that you just talked about. They were too focused on trying to get the drop and just run. They didn't set up a defensive little spot there to try to keep the drop into their hands. Now Hndles tried to have a 1v1 against Toxiq, but good on his teammates for rotating there very quickly and turning it from a 1v1 to a 3v1 to put him down. Now you're going to have multiple members coming up into these secondary angles, getting ready to try to retake that back cinema pillar, because the next hill will spawn there in 7 to 10 seconds or so. The big question for me is, are you going to go for a 2? Yeah, there is a 2v2 over here, but I like the way that Pioneers played that. Very wide, very angular, and Acells over the top of that windowsill. 2 big shots, 2 big downs. They are continuing to keep the momentum on their side, and this could get them to 270 if they hold the entire time.
I think they're going to be able to hold, depending. Solar as well as Toxiq have to wait. Now, Solar does have the fresh shock. He's going to use that now, if I had to guess, and maybe even utilize it on Hndles, who's over in this corner. Shock's actually going to be out, right? Solar throws it. Doesn't have much of effect. Hndles, though, will drop, and that at least pinned the guys from Pioneers inside the hill. They couldn't break out. Fire and Ice does get the break, so good on him. You know, Solar holding on, Toxiq holding on as well. Pioneers obviously aren't going to push that fight. There's no reason to. They stayed in the hill, but ultimately F&I at least will start to garner some points, close out that deficit a little bit more. It could get competitive towards the tail end, but just like the original rotation, Pioneers not necessarily all wrapped up in the first hill, or at least in the cinema hill, Colin. They're now on the second hill. They've got great spawn control. This time, they're going to be playing it from the top side instead of the bottom side like we saw off this, at least the start of District. But this is where Pioneers accumulated a large leader at least, came back off of the start. This is where Fire and Ice could start to really hurt.
Toxiq is going to be able to get those shots on the Xysho, but the revive comes through. 3 players are going to push into that juice. They're going to grab up that drop shot, and they've already gotten 2 kills. Hndles is the only player to answer back yet. He's going to get 1. He's going to try to find a second. Little misroll into that cubby corner. Now he's going to get double pushed. He has to stay alive for just a few more seconds. Xysho, he tries to pull up into this situation. Shots on, gets 1 down, drop out. I love to make them waste the drop in that situation. Toxiq knows that they might steal it from him if he just has it in his hands. He goes ahead and throws the rocket out, tries to save not only himself, but his teammate. Not going to be able to get either of those players to be saved, but now the flash and dash comes through for the Pioneers. Shots over the top, one down. All that's going to be left is Solar. He's going to throw the flash. There's the quick shot on and kill by Acells. And 58 seconds away, 58 points, so they cannot win on this hill. They can get it damn close, though.
One thing I do appreciate about Pioneers is they don't leave anybody in green, right? To Lancer through that window on the Fire and Ice guys who are on the outside of the hill looking in. They Wolfpack in together, and they retake it with the Fury. We need to see more of that from Pioneers. Again, the aggression from them needs to rear its head back into play, much like when they were vanquished. But look at how quickly Fire and Ice respond. I got to give them credit. That was an excellent job. Already a bit of a mismatch, though, as Precision, Hndles, and Xysho are not going to, or excuse me, Precision, Acells, and Xysho are going to be attacking through green now down low. Solar is on the flank, so Pioneers trying to keep the hill decapped as long as possible. It's a really bad spot for them to be in, but honestly, maybe not the worst, because player 3 Hndles is on the opposite end, so any Pioneers member that die is going to now spawn where the next hill is going to be.
And not only that, you see them quickly rotating across through that cinema area, and now you see them trying to take the top side of the spawn. Like you said, they're going to spawn up there, and it's going to be very hard for Fire and Ice to rotate into this next hill. Just 10 seconds left on that last hill, so everybody's off. Acells with a little delay, and then the up A gets the kill. Now it's a 3v1 to the back of the hill. There's the triple shot on with an Asher. They get the down. They're going to get that kill. They're going to be holding off until this hill spawns in about 5 seconds or so. Just waiting for people to come back into that next defensive stand. They are 48 seconds away. Hndles, quick pick on the drop. Full red hops the cover. Doesn't get dropped. Beautiful power weapon pickup. And now they have a chance to really hold on to this hill, especially with another 1v1. One inside of that cinema by the Pioneers.
This could be it right here. Fire and Ice. One more attempt for a retake. They're going to have to play it picture perfect. Hndles is going to be a nuisance with the drop, though. Connecting on one member is going to be devastating. Connecting on two would be the end of it. That'd be a wrap. So Fire and Ice, they've got to make this attempt. The Wolfpack is in, but honestly, the Wolfpack is something you don't need with the drop shot rearing its head forward. Solar down. He's going to be finished. Hndles like a bat out of hell pushing forward. Chavii's gone. Rapidz, the last one standing again. Let's go ahead and wrap it up and send it out. That's going to be 300 to 188. Pioneers, they'll win district map number 1.
Beautiful job by the Pioneers. Very impressed. They did the things that I wanted them to work on. You saw a lot of the times they were shooting for one another. They were making sure they played in the same area. That is a definitive win for them on that map. It was a little bit closer than they probably wanted it to be.
Sure.
But I didn't care what the scoreline was as long as they were dominant. 28 assists for Xysho. Almost 20k damage.
That's pretty good. That's really good. And what are to be expected from Xysho? I do want to point something out that I found quite interesting. You noticed Hndles, or at least I noticed Hndles him multiple times, wasn't necessarily playing that spawn role. He wasn't locking down the anchor position, which I'm so used to him being there. I was seeing a lot of precision being in that spot, which is quite interesting. Is KCP making a change up when it comes to their roster and their positionings when it comes to control?
Well, what you've got to figure out with the new tuning is how your players, how your pieces work and live on the map right now. When Xysho could play back in the spawns down those stairs and play very defensively because the old tuning allowed for it, he could play back. He didn't have to worry about people flying at him, trying to get into that one-shot chunk range. He could just basically play back, play defensively, get a couple of back A's out, and stay alive. Now, with a quicker slide speed off of the instant, when you first tap into slide into a cover, you're just a hair faster than you used to be. An increased chunk range, and they have the chance to get that quick shot off as they cancel the wall slide. What they got to do is put a player who's a little more offensive back there, and who better than to put precision?
Yeah, I mean, it worked, at least in this highlight, or at least in this regard. Curious if it's going to work against other rosters, but you did say you saw what you wanted or what you needed to see from Pioneers during this matchup. Is there any other issues maybe that you weren't too happy with KCP, or is it all rainbow and sunshine at this point?
No, it's not going to be all rainbows and sunshine until I see these guys winning games the way that they used to, where people weren't really touching them in a lot of these CQC fights because of the fact that they were playing so well together, so within one another's abilities. They also have a big issue that we're about to possibly see rear its ugly head on map number 2. We saw that Fire and Ice threw a little bit of a different initial at them, where they stood up 3 Lancer deep, got a quick down on a Hndles, and then just shot him out as soon as he hit the ground and made it a 4v3 on that initial hill. Execution is about your initial ability. Yes, you might see a lot of flashes and smokes get thrown and then nobody die and you have to get a reset. And if you reset, guess what that next push is considered? Just a second initial. There's no difference. If nobody dies, nobody breaks ice in that original initial where you're throwing your stuns, then it's just going to be a secondary initial with no utility grenades. If Fire and Ice can keep Pioneers off balance with their initial play, whether it be a change of strategy, whether it be something different that they do than the Pioneers are used to, then they can win this map too, and all that hard work on District amounts to a hill of beans.
One thing that I do want to point out is the fact that Kansas City Pioneers weren't necessarily dominating the team fights per se. I did see a lot of positives come out from Fire and Ice when they were able to meet KCP head on. One of the things that benefited Pioneers greatly here, and something they did very well, was their ability to establish themselves onto hills a lot earlier. And Fire and Ice simply didn't do that, which that's no surprise they're calling, because F&I has struggled to rotate early. I don't know if they have anybody truly calling out those rotations that would benefit them greatly. They're just a bit too late off the gun with that. But if they started getting those rotations on point, I think they would be a lot stronger. The fact that they kept it 300 to 188 despite them not even prioritizing rotation at all is pretty impressive, at least in my mind. But for KCP, it does show me that I think they are still going to struggle against the Rebels or against the EU Uniteds, or, you know, maybe even Pittsburgh Knights on control, because it's not enough to rotate early against those top tier rosters. You also have to win your big team fights, which I felt KCP did at times, but Fire and Ice did put a hurting on them multiple occasions. We're loading in a checkout, and team fights is kind of the name of the game. But one thing that I have mentioned before, Colin, is KCP does not make adjustments hardly at all, and that adjustments is for them to go up top and fight for the nades. But Fire and Ice doesn't like to do that. They like the 4-man push straight on checkout.
You see what they're doing here. It's going to be a big team battle over this platform, over this long shot area. 2 kills come out. Now it's a 2v2. Toxiq and Chavii versus Xysho and Hndles. And you're looking to find one of those players to be able to angle out here. And I think Chavii might try to go a little wide, try to find that in 45 or so. Shots on a precision are actually going to make him very weak going back into that cover for just a moment. And he's going to have to hold on to his butt right there and hope to God he doesn't go down. Little misroll out of Toxiq almost gets him in trouble as well. So this is what we talked about here. 2 players from each team die off on the early initial, but now it's reset. But Chavii, again, putting himself in harm's way. A lot of these players are just really testing fate.
They really are, because Chavii drops there. Pioneers isn't going to waste that opportunity. They're going to push straight into the last remaining player of Toxiq. They're going to take him down. The round is over with, so you can't overexpose yourself like that, no matter how confident you're feeling. Chavii and Toxiq will consolidate and get together, and the standoff will continue. Actually, Chavii can't stay still. He's trying to bait out Xysho, but, you know, a good point you made during Emergence days when we were watching Fire and Ice play against, I think it was their first matchup against Elevate, or maybe even further on, was that, you know, they're not top level teams like Pioneers aren't going to make some mistakes. But let me take that back. Toxiq will take down Hndles, and Xysho will also fall. As I was looking through my notes, I actually missed that breakout. Where was the breakdown of communication for Pioneers to allow Fire and Ice to take that round?
So when they went over to that right side, that 45-degree angle, in order to shoot back against it, you have to stand up over the cover. You can't stay in the cover and shoot up over it with your lance or your snub, whatever. So they pressed forward into that middle lane. Then they pressed 1 lane closer, and they were basically on the opposite end of that fat cover you see at the bottom right of your screen. And what he ended up doing was getting that 90 degrees, so everybody from the side of the Pioneers had to pull up out of cover. You were being able to get shot on, and the pistol right there for Fire and Ice, I mean, just rang true for them. That was just hell's half acre for the Pioneers to try to come back against. Already 2 down for the Pioneers, and this is what my big worry was coming into this map too. Initials have not been the strongest suit for the Pioneers right now, and it is only getting worse on them as they have 1 player left standing, everybody else down, everybody else now dead.
Wow, yeah, just to kind of touch on that point, extrapolate a little bit more. Yeah, it hasn't been Pioneer's strong suit to, meet a team head on. It's really quite simply not, which is worrisome on checkout, and I kind of figured it would be because Fire and Ice is a talented team on checkout in that distinct 4v4 fight. I do beg the question to you, though, is there anything Pioneers can do differently to counteract that 4-man push from Fire and Ice? Because, again, they're not going to change that up. F&I is going to continue to make this push every single round.
I'd like for them to try to find that player going either up on a platform or try to answer back with a little bit more Lancer damage. And that's what we saw right here. You see Fire and Ice trying to get quickly into the grill of most of these players from the Pioneers. They're going to send what looks to be Precision on a big flank who's going to take care of the 1v. Now Precision comes up into that middle checkout lane, gets a body shot, but doesn't get too much damage. Rapidz, he's going to pull the long shot, gets the headshot as he tries to slide into cover. And 3 rounds up, 3 rounds down. Fire and Ice, they're taking them to downtown, baby.
Woo, that was a nice shot from Rapidz, man. Love watching him play. That sniper shot was clean. Look at Acells down there. Hate to point him out, but I have to, right, to keep it accurate. Currently 0-0. Big goose egg for him. Hndles and Xysho not doing any better themselves. Precision, the only one who's keeping it even with 3-3 with the first blood, but still, though, not a good performance. Toxiq hasn't died yet. He's got 4K damage, 3 kills, 6 assists. See the breakout one more time. This time, Pioneers getting antsy and pushing forward, getting the first blood themselves onto Rapidz, sniper in hand. Surely this is the round they're finally going to take.
Well, here we go with the snipe in hands of Xysho. He's going to try to find one, but I mean, no reason, not needed, nothing whatsoever. We ended up getting all the kills being made through the front side of those checkout lanes. It was just a beautiful sight to see. It's a good answer back, but they got to have a couple of those in a row because Fire and Ice still up by 2 rounds here, and it looks like without a big change up in game plan, that is just going to be a headbutt the Pioneers have to hope they win.
It is. I'm curious if Pioneers, since they found success off that last round, do they continue with that strategy, going down low for the sniper? The plat fight hasn't been going their way. Even though they've been getting instants, it doesn't necessarily guarantee them a round or even first blood for that matter. This time, once again, Pioneers going down low. Seems to be working out. Solar and Toxiq have already won. They find an opportunity to push onto Hndles by himself. Hndles, though, holding his ground with the help of his teammates. And that's going to be 2 back-to-back rounds in just under 30 seconds in a way of nobody dying. Excellent recovery, and Pioneers seem to have found an answer by sending everybody down low to pressure to middle checkout stands and also get their hands on the sniper.
And now coming into this next round, Fire and Ice with a couple of moments to think about what they want to do here. How do they stop the bleeding now? Because they've dropped 2 back-to-back. I think they need to find an angle here. They need to probably press out that middle lane. Acells is going to roll up in there with a teammate. They're going to give up those incendiaries to the side of Fire and Ice. Solar is going to have them, and a big throw could find a kill, maybe even 2, but there's no damage down coming through. They're going to get a couple of downs, but they don't get a single kill out of it. All that damage, all that initial pressure amounts to nothing for the side of Pioneers. They literally got all the way across the map, got into the field of vision and the face of Fire and Ice just to get taken down swiftly.
And I think, was it Hndles who picked up the instance? Because he was the guy who was on the plat,
No,
right?
Fire and Ice got instance.
Oh, Fire and Ice got the instance. Interesting.
Yeah, because when Fire and Ice put somebody up there, they knew there was no extra Lancer, which is why the Pioneers pressured across the bottom side of the checkout lane.
And sometimes when you risk everybody for that 4-man push down low, you understand that you have an opportunity to get your hands on the instance. This time around, though, a bit of an adjustment, kind of going back to the original strategy, right? Where Pioneers, they go onto plat, they get the instance. This time around, though, Precision hits a great shot, taking down Chavii. 4v3, first blood once again going over to Precision. He's been having a decent game. It's everybody else on Pioneers who have kind of been struggling. They have picked it up, but still a lot more work to be done. This would be a telling round if Fire and Ice is able to flip the script. I don't foresee them doing it, though, and Toxiq and Rapidz put themselves in a terrible spot. Instant out, Solar down. Clinical work from Pioneers. Bit long-winded, 47 seconds, but that's finally a round for Pioneers. Once again, they are nudging on that comeback. 1 round, they tie it up.
And now it's a round differential, but still the worrying factor to me is without those 2 kind of early initial kills, or the way that Pioneers were able to get a couple of really quick picks, that's what they're winning these rounds off of. They're not winning it off of the smart play, the aggression play. They're getting a quick pick with a double Lancer. Maybe somebody gets up into the grill like Precision, gets that shot on and takes somebody down. They clean up one. Try to get the second as Precision tries to drop off the cover, but Chavii almost gets two himself, but a three goes over to the side of the Pioneers. That was a big play on top of the platform. I really did not see them getting that victory there after the kill on the Precision, but my God, they held on, and look at the way this is played out by Acells. After they get that revive and Acells gets chunked, Acells says, you want to come face me? Here's a down, there's a chunk. There's a chunk. Here comes one more. Thank you very much. I'll take my 3-piece and a biscuit, baby. A leg, a wing, and a thigh.
All right, tied up 4-4. This would be a big map. We're heading into Training Grounds next, where I do see Fire and Ice losing. So for Pioneers, they hold the opportunity to win this 3-0. But now it's a 2v2. It's a scrappy one. Solar with the meat shield. Xysho full red. Backs up, stays alive. Solar drops, but look at that push from Hndles. He at least gets Solar down again. Now Chavii's going to answer back, and it's kind of just who can get the pickups quick enough without the other team finishing you off. We finally have a bit of a stalemate. That was a massive battle. A lot of damage being outputted. I know a couple of players could be on their last down and out. I'm looking at Solar maybe, but at this point, who is going to break bread first? You know, you go back a couple of rounds earlier when we started checkout, you know, we were
round
almost
one.
in the same, round one, we were in the same exact spot. Fire and Ice ended up winning it.
Yeah, and this is what we need to see here. Solar's going to have his flash. Hndles is going to have his. Those are the only two to be used. Here comes the flash. Didn't get a stun there, and they're going to try to take this angle. They're going to go for a flank, but there's the wrap shot, and it's almost the same thing, except they don't get...
Wow.
Hey, yo, Xysho. Man, did you not eat lunch?
So Solar was on his last down and out, brother. So once he hit those shots and took him out, it was kind of easy from there. Look at this, though.
I love you so much, and I love the fact that Xysho baited out that wrap shot with that little fakey wall cancel right there. But my man's hit almost a whole damn spread after Xysho had already been tagged up. My man must not have eaten lunch. He was hungry. He was hungry.
Well, Pioneers now potentially on the final rounds. They need to win this. Going to a round 11 would be pretty weird, given how Fire and Ice is obviously still in it. We've got a couple players jumbled up, though. Is going to be a big trade. Precision needs to get out. He can't in time. And just like that, Hndles is by himself looking at a wall of Fire and Ice members just up ahead. Hndles, no incense to his name, so he's kind of out of luck. And there it is. He's going to go ahead and drop off. And there it is, the round 11. No matter how clean rounds 7 through 9 were for Pioneers, Fire and Ice, they just got one more to win.
It's going to be around 11, and I saw this might be coming down that alleyway, down the turnpike. I said, this is a struggle map. Execution, initials, things that Pioneers have not been very particularly good at in the past couple of matches for them over the past few weeks. They need to find a win here. This is going to be very tightly contested. Let's see if the pressure gets the Fire and Ice, or if the Pioneers can find that little niche to come back. Big flash. They're going to triple push Precision in the middle alleyway. 3 players are all stacked up there. Oh my God, and a back A from Hndles sends one straight to the burning hells. He says, take this and go to the abyss. Just like your teammates, we going to put you downtown. Julie Brown, they win it 6-5. They flash and dash in front of our eyes, and Taylor. The Pioneers are up 2-0 over Fire and Ice, and they have got to win 3 straight maps, starting with Escalation. I'll be curious to see if they can do it. I hope all of you have had your curiosity piqued, because we're going to be able to find out right after this.
And welcome back, everybody. Gears Pro League Split 1, day number 7. An excellent battle on checkout that went to around 11, but Pioneers end up taking it, which puts them up 2-0 in the series. But I do appreciate the way Fire and Ice played this. I swear to you, the narrative I have with Fire and Ice's series is it's always close, but it's never good enough.
Sometimes getting to the finish line might feel like you're winning the race, but you realize that somebody's already taken their victory lap. And that's exactly what the Pioneers are making Fire and Ice deal with right now. Fire and Ice has put forth a really good effort. Yes, they didn't even break the 200 marker on map 1, but they fought back in a lot of situations. They had some really brilliant retakes but they were too little too late on some hills that didn't net them enough time, especially because of the fact that by the time they got there, got the retake, and then you saw the Pioneers were like, that's fine. We'll go set up again and see if you can overtake us at the next hill. You know that that's got to be a worrying factor. And then you come here to Execution, where it has got to be a setup that you like against the Pioneers because of how much they've struggled in their initials. You take them to a round 11. Everything's looking and feeling fine. And next thing you know, you're like, did I drink some wine? Because I'm hipsy and tipsy and somebody tripped me at the top of the stairs.
Well, Training Grounds Escalation is going to be coming up next. I've mentioned the shortcomings from Fire and Ice on this map, so it's not going to get any easier from here. One benefit you do have for F&I is they do like the 4v4 fight, or at least in this case for TG, we're going to get a 3v3 fight. My only concern is we are going to be seeing that distinct 1v1 that's going to be taking place on Bravo, and I think it's Rapidz, if I'm not mistaken, who's going to be in that 1v1 spot. Rapidz plays quite well when he's in a team fight and he's got his boys around him, but he's not necessarily the most aggressive player, I guess you can say. He struggles to stand his ground or find his identity in the 1v1 position, at least on TG. So that's going to be one concern that I do have, because obviously it's not all about the 1v spot, Colin, but if you lose that fight in the neutral, especially if your team ends up losing a team fight on Overlook, you're looking at a nasty, quick loss from round to round. So I'm looking at Rapidz, which again, I think that he is going to be at the 1v spot. To hold his ground here, at least extend the round, give some insurance in case the team fight doesn't go their way.
I was going to say, when you said you're looking at Rapidz, I'm like, looking for him to step it up. You're looking for him to do something different.
I want him to be more assertive on the 1v1 spot, because I swear he a lot of times he takes the back seat, right? He doesn't try to hold his ground. He's kind of always reactive instead of proactive. I want to see him be more confident in that spot. As a 1v player, you have to be. You know, I think you were the one who kind of pointed it out best. Those 1v players are in a world of their own. You know, it's not, there's nothing like it, okay? So you have to play it differently than you do in a team fight. So again, for Rapidz, if he is in the 1v spot, I want to see him be more assertive and try and dominate that position. So here he is, Rapidz, and see, Precision isn't worried. Precision is a guy that's been there, done that against the best of the best. So Rapidz now is going to, well, I think we have an ear, a bit of an, I don't know what he's doing there. I'm going to be honest with you. We have to have a, yeah, we have an issue. Okay. Unless he lost his mind.
We have a problem.
About to say,
like
unless he lost his mind.
Precision lets him crawl into the B hill. Is this just a...
I think we're going to have a bit of a stalemate or a restart or something. Something's going on.
Is this the greatest, like, bamboozle in history?
If that was the case, honestly, I couldn't even be mad at F&I if that was the case. You know, if we kind of, but hey, this is the opportunity now to do that Easter egg that's on TG. All right, we got a bit of a technical pause. You know,
why not? I hear the voice of God saying,
yeah, why not? Oh, it's loud. Okay, because it's just loud. So you can do it. It's not against the rules, right? It's just loud. Okay, fair enough. Well, I've got game sound all the way down pretty much, so I'm chilling. But, hey, it's all right. Honestly, would it be a Gears Pro League match or an E-Days or any Gears match if we didn't have a technical pause at least once throughout the night, Colin? I don't think it would be.
I don't think it would be either. You know, sometimes you just have to deal with the circumstances put in front of you. Just like that King Raven on top of that little pillar over there. It's got moss growing on it. It's to the right. Ribs is doing that nice, beautiful cinematic shot here, and it's just it's glorious. But up to the right, you can see a King Raven on top of Heaven.
That's where I don't see it. Where's it at? Am I blind?
No, you can't. It's not in frame right now. There it is. See?
Huh? Oh, okay. I see. No.
Fan blades are all knotted up toward the back with all that vine growing off of it.
Got it. Beautiful. You think you can? Now I know you're handy with the tools and you're handy with, you know, I don't know, fixing your John Deere tractors and stuff. But you think you could fix that?
Fix a helicopter? I don't know. It's got an engine on it. I'll be curious. I mean, I'd give it a good 1-2, baby. I'd do my damnedest to try to fix it. It'd be nice if look. I'll tell you right now. I'll give it my best go if I can either have Dizzy Wallen or Damon Baird behind me, because Dizzy fixed big rigs and Damon knows how to fix everything. So I mean, if I got one of them just at least point me in the right direction, I'll figure it out sooner or later, right? Worst case scenario, it's already got moss on. It's not like I didn't break something that wasn't already not being used.
Big rigs, huh? Well, I guess big rig does translate. I know how to change my oil. If I know how to change my oil, I can for sure fix a helicopter or a plane.
No,
I mean, I guess that applies.
No.
You don't think so?
When I say big rig, my man Dizzy Wildin was fixing the big rigs that they used in Operation Hollow Storm and Gears 2, man. He had one called Betty, and that bad girl just went down through the valley of the shadow of death, fighting off hundreds, if not thousands of locusts as they came up out of them e-holes as they tried to find themselves. They were the grind lifts. That's what they're called. I just refer to them as big rigs, but they used grind lifts to bore into the core of Sarah when they were on. It's a long story, but it's a beautiful story.
Okay. I got totally off the beaten path. It's totally random, but I have to bring it up because I found it to be the wildest thing. I was in California for a wedding over the weekend. I was flying back and I was listening to this song. I listened to this song on repeat because I really liked it. You guys ever find a good song? I'm talking to chat here. You ever find a good song where it's so good that you listen to it 20 times and then the song isn't as good anymore after like the 20th time because you've listened to it so much? I find myself doing that too often.
And I know what song it was.
No. Yeah, so it was I'll tell you what, I'm gonna look it up right now. It's by Nas. It was really good. It's an older song, but it was a good song. It's called It Ain't Hard to Tell. Super good song by Nas. Love it. And I was listening to it though, and
so you're East Coast. So you just made an enemy out of everybody that's West Coast.
No. I'm non-biased.
I see how you are.
I don't have a.
See what you did there, Taylor.
No, I don't have a foothold in that battle, man. Look, if it's good, I listen to it. It is what it is. If everybody wants to East Coast, West Coast, they want to have that battle, they're good to do it, man. For me, if it sounds good, hey, it's good to me. I'm gonna listen to it. But I was listening to It Ain't Hard to Tell by Nas, and there's a sample in there, and obviously Nas came out with it first, and I was like, dang, that sounds familiar. And I was like, yo, that's the same sample that Chris Brown used in his song in his 2011 album, She Ain't You. And it was a 2011. I was a different person, all right? I was listening to Chris Brown, just that song, all right? So now it's hard for me to listen to that song by Nas because every time I do, I'm like, dang, dude, Chris Brown killed it for me. You know what I'm saying, Colin? Because it's like Nas, two totally different styles, two totally different artists. But I don't know. I just had to point that out. Go listen to it. It Ain't Hard to Tell by Nas. Listen to that. You'll hear it. It's a small little part of it. But then, like I said, She Ain't You by Chris Brown, same sample that he ended up using in it. So it just kind of killed it for me. And then now it's hard to listen to the song. That's all I wanted to say. I just thought it was interesting, you know?
Well, sometimes you gotta find interesting factoids and statistics about different artists that you enjoy, but it looks like we do have the reset here.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna be off spawn. We're gonna figure out what's gonna be happening here. It looks like we're gonna have another initial off the rip. I hope to God we don't see the same one where Rapidz says, I really didn't like how that started. Maybe we should just, maybe I should run into this wall.
Well, maybe Fire and Ice got blessed. After all, Precision was... actually, Hndles this time around is going to be in the 1v spot on the other end instead of Precision. So a bit of a change-up already from Pioneers. Interestingly enough, team fight on Overlook seems it's going to be pretty scrappy. Solar's already died, so has Precision. So 2v2 fight. Meanwhile, on the other end, Hndles is going to make that first move. Rapidz now forced to go into a reactive standpoint. Chavii still alive, battling hard, and Fire and Ice is going to send an additional member to help Rapidz, which pays dividends for them to get the neutral.
Without a doubt, Precision's going to come up toward the backside of this Overlook, try to get a flank out, going to stay just outside of chunk range, but is going to put on some serious body blows on the different members of the side of Fire and Ice. And Fire and Ice still with a 2-to-1 hill cap, but you can see in this situation how they're going to have to be worried about giving up the home-to-home stretch, which is what they've just officially done. They're going to hold on to B, but I want to see them try to get a really good retake here. What are they going to do in this instance to try to get the Pioneers to not be able to retake B as they push them off of this situation?
Of a domination starting to come through. Obviously, Fire and Ice going to get on their home hill. Pioneers still with the lead and the objective, and Hndles trying to hold his positioning. He will drop Solar, putting up a great fight, but again, by himself, 1v2, but he did have some help. Fire and Ice putting a lot of pressure on the neutral. This is the second time they've sent more members over than that of the Pioneers, and it seems to be working, but a bit of a recovery. Precision down and out. Hndles will get the trade, but can't get in cover in time. He was on his last down and out. And finally, the fight on the neutral is going to be won by FNI, but Pioneers off to their old tricks, going home to home.
Yeah, and I love the fact that they're keeping the pressure going, the fact that they're able to keep Fire and Ice having to run back and forth. It's what started to kill Fire and Ice in that map number 1, and now it's what might cause them to lose this round 1 in this map 3, because, I mean, Pioneers are holding on to a 50 or 60 point lead. They continue to go to the hill that Fire and Ice is not, and they're forcing Fire and Ice to just run around the map, not like chickens with their head cut off, but certainly not in any fashion that makes them happy.
Not at all. Fire and Ice could, you know, kind of take the rug underneath the feet of Pioneers at this point, and they're looking to do so. They're going to be on all 3 hills. Still Pioneers is going to be in a 2v1. I'm looking at Chavii to hold his ground. He's already died off, though, so Pioneers will have the 1 hill that they need to close this out. Still, maybe a chance for Fire and Ice to recover. A lot of things have to go right in this moment, and Toxiq is one of those things that definitely needs to go right. He's already held his ground against a couple of Pioneers members off the respawn, trying to create that distance, and he will. Precision will continue to push up, and Fire and Ice is putting all their eggs into one basket. That's going to be on B, but because Pioneers wins their fight on A, that should be all she wrote, despite how this fight on B goes, which, hell, Xysho is turning up. This guy has been incredible all night.
Yeah, he has been on an MVP level performance all night for his squad, making life very difficult for Fire and Ice. 2 seconds to go. That'll tick through. That'll be the first round done and through for the squad of the Pioneers. They're going to pick it up.
Great round.
And they are now 4 rounds away from a 3-0 victory over Fire and Ice.
Yeah, they are. And again, great round, I think, from both rosters. In my opinion, Fire and Ice kept it super competitive multiple times. Pioneers just found an opportunity. Because this is the thing, Fire and Ice wasn't necessarily winning the Overlook fight. More often than not, Pioneers was going home to home pretty freely. It was the neutral that Fire and Ice was winning consistently, but they still kept it competitive all the way till the very end. At one point, even threatening a domination. This time around, again, it's going to be the same. Actually, might not be the same breakout. Hndles instead. Well, okay, he does double back down to B. I thought he was going to stay up top and help his players get the Overlook fight win, and then Hndles was going to go into Rapidz, which would solidify my standpoint. Again, Hndles or any member from Pioneers is not worried about Rapidz in the 1v, but either way, it's going to be the same breakout as it was in round 1.
Let's see what they do here as Fire and Ice will take over the back of the U. Looks like Pioneers are going to try to win this top section here, the top Overlook, and apply pressure to the side of Fire and Ice this way, but they're going to get taken down. Xysho will be last really alive for his team to play any kind of defense in this situation. Curious to see if they're going to pressure him to try to go for a triple cap. They already are. Full red. They're going to get a kill there at Hndles on that mid-neutral hill as well, which is going to keep Fire and Ice in the driver's seat. It might be a 1-to-1 before we know it.
Might be a 1-to-1. Fire and Ice looking to do it. Precision's got to slide in, taking a lot of damage, but you know how the game is played. You just got to touch the hill and keep it competitive. Xysho takes down one. Hndles can't cover the gap. I think Xysho was thinking Hndles can get there in time and then maybe keep it competitive, and the Xysho would definitely solidify the round continuing on by getting on the B, but just not enough time. And just like that, Fire and Ice will answer very quickly. Well done.
Good round. I'm a little worried for Fire and Ice because of how much it took out of them to get the 2v1 to go early on Hndles at B. Hndles was not really putting in the best effort. It was more of a desperation push, and they still kind of kept that going for just a moment toward that triple cap domination scenario. So they need to be cleaner in that, or that could come back to haunt them very quickly.
All right, let's see how this is going to work now. Going into round number 3. Still the same thing taking place, nothing changing. Same 3v3. You got the same 1v1 on the opposite ends. Toxiq drops. He's back into the fight. Now, Fire and Ice did this very well on District. When they do lose members, they're able to get a refresh back in the fight quickly with the team pickups. This time around, not going to be so lucky. I'm looking at Rapidz to be the guy to keep the round alive, and he's going to be able to at least get a touch for sure, but he's taking so much damage from Overlook. Going to be an easy cleanup from Hndles, and this round is going to be over with. Well done from the Pioneers. Kind of the same dominant round we've seen in round number 2 from Fire and Ice. Now over to the other end with Pioneers. They'll take the 2-to-1 lead. We're going into the last round of the first half.
So for Pioneers here, if it seems like everybody's winning their right-hand advantage rounds, I wonder what the Pioneers do to try to recover from that. Sure. And if you're the Pioneers, do you switch it up? Do you go for something different, really? Like, in the idea of, are we just not going to give up that extra angle? Are we not going to try to pinch people out at the Overlook? Because You got to figure out what you did wrong on round 2, excuse me, and you got to be able to cut that back and cut that off so that you don't go down.
Different this time. Look at this, Pioneers. Oh, we might have a... Thought we were going to have another little bit of a break, but it seems like everything is business as usual. It's just Pioneers going over towards B. They're going to overload that side. And I think they're going to try and go for a bit of a Mr. Krabs that those players can break out from the low side. The last one to do so is going to be Acells catching Chavii off the Mistro. Chavii backs up, takes him down, and that's going to keep Pioneers off of the over-rotation and force player 4 Hndles now to hold down B for himself. But that was a really interesting opening strat from Pioneers we don't see too often.
And now the Pioneers, they're going to be pressuring this B hill as long as they can in an attempt to make life hard on Fire and Ice, and Fire and Ice with that cap. And now backing slowly up. They got to worry about the player on top of Heaven. He's going to be able to angle out that Heaven player very easily from the top of the overlook. 2 players from Pioneers, now 3 that are set up going into this situation, are going to be able to, I think, get some pressure here. Rapidz is just backing up, which I think is the smart play out of him. It's allowing the rest of his team more time to focus up on their own fights, make life harder on the side of Pioneers, but now Pioneers are going to come through the God spot. This is where they can break in at. Chavii has to win this 1v to be able to hold off the rest of the side of the Pioneers, but the neutralization for Fire and Ice is just as good.
Definitely is. Fire and Ice obviously with the lead. Precision's going to get onto B at this time. Toxiq's going to move up. He's already weak. Precision knows this. He feels more confident to push, and he will make it happen. Rapidz can still keep Precision head down, but not for very long. He can break out if he wants to, and Pioneers is going to be happy with this 2-1, and in fact, Precision's going to make a move and just help the members on Overlook a little bit more with some extra chip damage incoming, and the shock is not going to make it any easier for FNI to break out either. So Precision will stay in God spot. He's happy with that one, and Fire and Ice is going to go ahead and start to close the gap on B. And Toxiq and Rapidz are going to be the guys to challenge this B hill, as Precision and Hndles are going to try and hold them off.
And let's see, Precision's going to get down with his hand in front of his face, so that was a great, well-timed flash. Now you have to worry about players coming off of that top level. And it looks like what you're going to be able to do if you're Fire and Ice is just hold on to this. If you can get one more kill and try to come back into this situation.
You have my thanks.
All right, Fire and Ice could do this, guys. It's still so close. Taking the home hill is going to be that. There you go. The home is going to be back. So this is going to make Pioneers' opportunity on B that much more critical. They need to make it happen. Rapidz, though, with a nice shot, taking down Precision. Hndles is in, but he can't get the decap in time. And just like that, I think Fire and Ice has secured the round.
They have indeed, I believe, secured the round unless there's a monumental collapse, but I don't believe that's going to come through anytime soon. Less than 4 seconds. Nobody on the hill in time. Now you're going to be able to see a 2-2 split going into the second half, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. Good stuff, man. You know, impressed. I really am. Fire and Ice playing this a lot better than I've seen them play in some time. Great job from Solar. He's got the 11 assists, almost akin to, you know, Xysho from before. Toxiq not doing bad with the 10k damage. You know, not the shining star. Xysho still beating him out, but still, though, for Fire and Ice, you got to give respect where respect is due. So, hey, excellent job. Now, the second half changes things up a bit. Now we're going to see more emphasis placed on the E fights, and just like in typical LATAM style, or I guess, honestly, younger roster style, Fire and Ice opts to have the instant kill potential, where Pioneers want to play a little bit more control with the shock. Different strategy. You take what you want from it, but here it is. And Chavii's the guy to watch out for clearly, and Acells is pinned up in the corner, and he's dead.
Good shots on. Chavii now pulling out top side of that overlook. He's got a 2v1, but the top heaven Boltok has been a little bit too strong for the Pioneers to deal with. I like them taking this fight off of that top overlook, trying to make life harder on the side of Fire and Ice, but there's the double shot down and kill coming through very quickly. And now the Pioneers have to continue to pressure this. They've got to be able to keep Fire and Ice out of this situation. 2 players mounted up for Fire and Ice. Will you be able to get back into this situation to be able to fight back against that mid-neutral hill? 1 player looks like they might go on a flank here.
Who's that player we're looking at to go on a flank? Maybe player 4 Hndles?
No, player 5 was looking to go low for a flank. It was Solar.
Okay, okay. Solar is going to join his teammates up top. It's going to be a bit of a bull rush, if you will, straight ahead. Precision takes the ball by the horn, takes one down. And it doesn't make it any easier. Despite them dying, their Toxiq still in a tough spot. Solar as well pinned up. Acells, pushing in, takes down one, doubles back for the second. That's a clean finish. F is going to be in the hands of F&I. I don't see Pioneers pursuing it just yet. They're going to play the long game. This is where Pioneers can get quite scary because their team orientation is fantastic. And you can see the effects of that now with Hndles locking down this fatal funnel. Fire and Ice having a tough time. A couple players now on their last down and out. So this push most likely not going to be successful, and that's going to force Fire and Ice to kind of band together and go for one more final attempt.
And Fire and Ice, they're looking to try to mount this up in just a moment, and here it comes. 2 down, 2 going to be out. They've got to be picture perfect on this next one, I think. There's no shot for them to not be able to get this win if they want to get this first round of the second half under their belt.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to come, though. Don't they?
No.
Yep, there we go.
Nope.
Oh, 3 of them.
No way.
Oh, they're emoting. Oh, God. It's all downhill from here, boys. We've seen
Who
emotes.
was it? Who was it?
It was the Baird. The Baird was telling him to come get some.
Who's playing the Baird? Is that Hndles?
Who else? I mean, who
Of
else going to tell you
course.
to come get some, right?
It's got to be Hndles. I'm telling you, that guy, love watching him play. He's always the first one to start emoting. It doesn't matter. Xysho, you mentioned, I think on that checkout, how Xysho is definitely putting on an MVP performance, and he continues to do so. 15k damage. He's been the shining star when it comes to assist and damage all night, starting on District. Continuing on checkout, and obviously the same thing here on training grounds. 2 rounds away from a 3-0 victory is the Pioneers. Fire and Ice in a must-win spot. They place down the sniper and Overlook, which again could be great for F&I, but they got to play it confidently. And well, they will be confident, but your back player Toxiq dropping is not going to make it easy for an exit strategy from Solar. But I got to give him credit. He still gets out.
I'm going to say I enjoyed Solar's little double bounce there into that middle cubby corner. He had to be concerned that somebody might have had that God spot, that little overlook position that would have been able to take care of business there.
Nice shot.
Ends up not getting shot, and now Acells, he has to keep his head down. Acells is like, hey, guys, they're looking at me. They're looking at me. They got a large caliber rifle staring at me.
He also had an incident in front of him, too.
Yikes.
Good stuff. Great shots, man, from Rapidz. Hndles, being a sneaky beaver that he is, though, has found a way on the home hill of F&I, and he'll get that shot on the Rapidz, which will lock it in place. Still, the job made very difficult. Xysho on the flank. Xysho is going to get absolutely ran through by young Chavii. Well done from him. And now Solar can have a field day with the sniper rifle. He's been connecting, at least he did off the first one. Precision will get a body onto him. One more shot remaining. Ahead is what is really needed. Take one player down. That's going to reduce the numbers of Pioneers. Do you go, though, for the bit of pixel shot? He tried it, but ends up missing. And now it's all about the Nasher skill. Oh, dude, you have more shots, brother. What are you doing?
He's just trying to aim him up, baby. He's trying to line him up, all right? He said, I'll scare him off. I'll scare them. They have no idea I still got no rounds left in this chamber. I'll scare them off of.
That's too funny. Well, hey, I mean, if there was a perk to regenerate ammo, I guess Solar would have definitely equipped it, but no perks like that, and Solar will die. Chavii crawling around on all fours. Toxiq now by himself, much like Acells was off the rip once Rapidz moved in, and Toxiq doing everything he can, but he's going to die off, and 2-1 is going to go back to Pioneers when they need it most. 20 points down. They'll have the win condition back and force Fire and Ice to make a move. New sniper should be coming into play shortly, and Fire and Ice knows this, and I think that's why player 7 Rapidz is once again inching his way closer with player 5 of Solar to that hell spot, and Solar's going to be the guy this time around to get his hands on the sniper, but be careful, you got precision on the outside, and a shock isn't going to make life any easier.
Shock is not going to make life easy whatsoever. He's going to be stuck inside here, Solar. He's like, guys, I'll be back in a second. They kind of got me locked up like my name was Akon out here, okay?
They never learned.
Did you say Akon? Did you say Akon because I brought up Chris Brown earlier?
Akon. Baby, come on now. They got me locked up. They won't let me out. Come on now. Get on to it, baby.
I really would say. I've been filling my voice. I was singing today, and I was like, "Yo, Taylor, you sounded pretty crispy." I'm not, it's a fresh day. I had the weekend off essentially, so the voice had time to recover from the 3 shows last week. So when my voice is good and not like strained, I'm like, you know what, Taylor, you could sing kind of well. Not very well, kind of well. Notice how I said that, but
yeah, but you a hot boy, so it works better for you.
the hell
You can't
mean
be
I'm a hot boy.
Have you seen
don't say that.
you
Have you seen you?
You gorgeous.
Gotham champion?
You look like somebody put charcoal beneath you, put some friggin' grease on them bad boys and lit them on fire. You burning it up. Come on now.
What did you just say? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna ask for clarification on what you just, because I heard charcoal and grease, which is not a good combination to be a hot boy. I'm just saying, but let's go. Hey, no, that's for a later conversation, because this round could end quickly. Pioneers up 4-2, series point. And Solar, you want to talk about grease all over his body. He gets out with the sniper in his hand. Pioneers, though, they've got the overlook.
Hey, my man was out there playing. He's the tag world champion 2021. All right,
Mr. Beast.
Every time he gets that long shot, he's like, "I'm getting out. Y'all can't catch me. Y'all better understand. Y'all not gonna catch me."
Well, they didn't get the E-heal though. Oh, look at this. Well, never mind. I was about to hype the boy up, but that was a bit off.
Their Precision is hoping to bait the player on the right out. Toxiq needs to be baited out of his spot for Precision to be able to have a free run at him. They keep pulling the Lancer because of the fact that they know they've got somebody directly to his left to try to protect him. Toxiq gets the kill on a Precision. And that's because Precision held that cubby and nobody was there to protect Precision, whereas Toxiq had somebody as his guardian angel the entirety of the time.
Strong overlook fight one from Fire and Ice. Now they could double back, put their pressure onto Hndles. He's about to be sandwiched. Precision could alleviate the pressure from the flank. He's actually going to call that out, but there's nowhere for Hndles to go to feel comfortable. But to his credit, my lord, he is still alive. Chavii moves in. Precision's there for the help, and Hndles is back in the fight. And I thought for sure Fire and Ice would have the 2-1 to themselves, but Pioneers now still with another opportunity to get a bit of a domination. The E-fight, though, has to go well. Solar has two more shots. He's going to die in this moment, you have to assume, and Hndles has a chance to help his team, and he wins the fight. This is over with.
This is over with indeed. The only player that could have tried anything was player 8, but he won't quick enough, and he won't on time. And that one much more dominating, I think. It went back and forth in the first half, but then it was like Kansas City Pioneers knew what they were going to get. They knew that Solar was going to continue to go for that long shot, so they would take the early point advantage and force Fire and Ice into a fight. They were going to make Fire and Ice play back against them and try to go for a perfect retake all three of those rounds, and it just didn't happen, brother.
Didn't happen. Oh, man. Fire and Ice. Tough series. We knew that coming into it. Pioneers was a heavy favorite. I do think Pioneers showed a lot of what we needed to see. I do want to see, though, more matchups against, the likes of Rise, the likes of Noble, the likes of E United, Rebel, Pittsburgh Knights, right? The list is kind of deep at this point. I want to see more matches, and maybe we'll get a taste of that in Emergencies. Obviously, when it comes to Pro League, we only see them match up against each other once. We will see them play against Rise, so that's going to be a good one. But I'm not convinced by that performance that Pioneers is up to snuff with the new tuning. Again, I just need to see more. But regardless, though, they do get the victory in a pretty dominant fashion. Outside of Checkout, Checkout was still back and forth. And I do want to say, to the credit of Fire and Ice, Colin, I do like a lot of what I've seen today. And I really appreciated them making the adjustment to help Rapidz out on the B fight, because from that first half, we went into second half tied up 2-2. And I want to give credit where credit is due to that player adjusting, going over to help out Rapidz for the B fight, because again, Rapidz is the guy who put a lot of focal points and a lot of pressure on when we started the commentary for Training Grounds, because he wasn't as assertive that he needed to be. And even if he's not the strongest player, again, you have teammates for a reason. I like the adjustment. So I think to date, this series for FNI, it still made them look strong and like they have a lot of potential. But again, they're just not able to break that threshold of being an amazing team as of yet.
Actually, I'm thinking about it. You know who Rapidz might want to give a phone call to because of the way that Fire and Ice, their struggles lend to him, whether or not he knows when to play up, knows when to play his life. He seems to be kind of back and forth. He's tethering himself between which decision to make. You know who he could reach out to?
Coach-wise?
I don't think he's ever been a coach. He's basically been a coach and an analyst, but he's never been like a legitimate coach. Like, he's never been written in as the coach.
Who's that then?
Two-time world champion from Gears 4 who played basically the same position, the one and only J Ribs. If you remember those Envy days and Ghost Gaming days, remember how much love Ribs was given playing in 1v spots and how intelligent Ribs had to be at understanding that role of, do I pressure up? Do I need to go help my team, or do I need to just run away? Am I going to live my life here because my team's winning the team fight somewhere else? I'll wait for somebody to come and give me some backup, or I'll bait that player into a bad fight. Ribs was one of those guys that understood that position so ungodly perfectly that it was hard to ever really beat him and make him be off balance and take care of business against him. If I was Solar, I'd just go watch Ribs footage. Just try to understand that kind of language. Try to understand that mentality. Just go back in the VODs and just watch it as long as you can, because the better you understand your position, the better you're going to be for your squad.
One thing that I do want to ask you, and I pointed it out before that restart, unless I'm going crazy, precision before the restart, or before that stalemate, excuse me, it wasn't a restart, but before the stalemate, before we had an issue with one of the players, he was in the 1v spot, and then Hndles switched up and went to the 1v, which that's where I'm used to seeing him play. What do you think that play call was? Because at least from my perspective, when I was just kind of watching and calling out, I was like, precision felt like, Hndles, you got this. Just go to the 1v. I'm going to help my teammates in Overlook fight because I'm not worried about Rapidz at all. Do you think that was the case?
So round one, they send precision there. And
pretty sure.
Well, no, this is what I'm trying to break it down. Sorry, I'll be quicker and more to the point so that you understand what I'm saying. Round one, precision goes to the mid-neutral hill. The reason he goes there, he's front spawn. He can probably hop, drop, get into cover, get a quick cap off before getting downed.
Which he did.
It's not a trick strat, but it is definitely something that can throw your opponent off in round one. They switch Hndles over there because he'll get there about the same time that Solar did, and therefore it's just kind of a standard 1v1. Neither of them can hop and drop without possibly getting Lancer down. Neither of them can take a definitive advantage. So round one, you send precision there as a monkey wrench in the spokes of the bike. Rounds 2 through whatever, you just play it straight up. You send precision in front spawn to the back of the U, allow him to help at the Overlook fight if he goes up top or if he goes to the back U. But that's literally what you saw was round one. They didn't change it because, that didn't work. They changed it because God and everybody just got to watch on stream that round one, Pioneers might throw that monkey wrench of trying to get precision on that hill early at you. That'll be something that teams need to take note of.
All right, well, taking note. I'm taking note at least. I thought that was interesting. A lot of moving pieces for the roster of Pioneers as of recently, whether it be Control or Escalation. It seems curious what the final product is going to be heading into the major, but it looks as if this series has come to a conclusion. Shout out to Pioneers with 3-0 victory. Fire and Ice, better luck next time. We'll see when you get your first win. From one team, though, at the bottom to another, it's going to be Hive, and Hive needs their first win. It's not going to be easy, though. They're going against E United. This series is coming up next. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back.